Vortex, I left my piano at home. I'm so bummed out. Mainly because I can sing again. I'm so excited to sing to God because it's been 2 weeks. I've missed the past 2 liturgies. Because if you can't sing, you really can't do anything. You know? I need to remember to text people back though, because people are like texting me every other day asking me if I'm okay, and I'll be like, text back right now before you forget, and I always forget because I don't do it immediately. And I know that I'm not the only one that has this problem, okay? But it is that thermostat. But that's probably another like $600. I'm not taking care of it. I'll just take a blanket. I'll just take a blanket in my car. That's what I've been doing. I have this big ass blanket. I've been wearing my slippies. I got my winter hat. I got my gloves. Your body just has to get adjusted to it, you know? Once your body's adjusted to it, it's fine. But the worst part is like when you get into a cold car and but I have this blanket though on the seat, so it's not as bad. It was way worse when my ass would be cold. Then I realized that I'm a woman. I have an overzealous amount of blankets and pillows, and this should not be an issue. So, yeah. But this friend of mine that I work with, he has one of those little code thingamajigs, and he checked it, and he said that it was the thermostat. They just replaced the coolant reservoir. I just put oil in it because I have a small oil leak, and I know I should probably get that taken care of, but that is a common problem with Mini Coopers. It's also a common problem with older cars in general, so it's not something that is of dire necessity. I need to get the brakes fixed before I do anything else. And I got an estimate at Christian Brothers where I took my car. I haven't been to Budget Brakes because I'm pretty sure that Budget Brakes probably won't be that much cheaper, but it's going to cost about $1,400 to do the brakes. But that's kind of sort of something that you really need, and it becomes more and more obvious with time, you know, because if you need brakes, it will be known to you. I can't tell you how many times though, like I'll hear other people's need of a brake job. Like everybody's fucking broke right now. But you think that would bring people together a little bit? You think that like our collective struggle would make people more they constantly need to carry around. And, you know, I just watched this video with Dr. Joseph, sorry if he's watching, I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's got way better things to do than watch a video from a obvious mental ill, but I know that he'd be fascinated by my existence, though. I'm pretty sure that any holistic psychiatrist, psychologist, or therapist would be totally enamored with me. But I'll put a link to his channel. His name is Dr. Joseph Doring. I think he's got a weird last name. It's got a hyphen in it. But I believe he's from Australia, I think. I don't know. A lot of those accents run together. It's like you could either be from like Australia, the UK, or South Africa. You know, I get those confused all the time. I feel like an idiot. But he's a holistic psychiatrist. He used to work for the FDA, and he's currently practicing in Utah, and he has a taper clinic. I believe he's like the #1 holistic psychiatrist that helps people taper off of medications. Not that that really means anything, because there's not much of a competition there. There will never be a competition for that one. But yeah, so he did a video recently. The only videos that I watch are psychological, spiritual, and ASMR. That's it. Occasionally, I'll watch a political video, and then I'll go right back to the psychological, spiritual, because it's all related to that, right? Well, this video in particular was about why the United States of America is the most depressed country in the world. And he didn't talk about medication at all. So that's typically what he talks about. But he was going into, you know, the root of the problem. And he mainly addressed the fact that there's this severe lack of community. And people can just be distracted with their devices, and that's replacing the sense of community that we once had, that we once needed. You know, like, there's a reason why people get depressed if, like, they can't go out and be with their friends. And there's a reason why COVID was like the ultimate litmus test, I think. And you know that I believe that everything's a smokescreen for something else. So with COVID, it seems like they were just testing the waters. They wanted to see how desperate everybody actually was, and how compliant. Now, I've told y'all this, it brings me a little bit of shame, but not that much, that I did wear a mask. And the reason why I wore a mask is because I still wanted to work. And the government was trying so hard to keep people in their homes in order to further advance their little plan. And while I could have collected money from the government, I didn't want to do that, because that just pisses me off that people would want to do that. And they're really doing themselves a disservice. Like, this is why I'm so against phone culture, because, like, much like this holistic psychiatrist was talking about, like, it's not satisfactory. Just staring at a screen feel like you're connecting with people because of something that y'all have in common. The way that y'all are communicating, if you can even call it that, is so weird. It's weird. You know, like, so email replaced letter writing. Okay, so people used to write really long letters to each other. And, you know, I want to get back into that, but it's like, I have the same problem too. You know, like, I really don't want to write some long ass thing expressing my feelings, you know, or my opinions even. Like, I would much rather do it in this way, short and sweet, right? But I mean, I'm not like that. I just tend to go on and on and on, but never about the same topic. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't stay on topic to save my life because of whatever the fuck schizophrenic thing I got going. Because it's like literally impossible for me. Because there's so many things that relate to whatever I'm talking about, and those things distract me. So it's like, if I were to talk about like the reasons why we're depressed, the reasons why our society is crumbling. It's like there's so many things we could get into. And within all those things that factor into this collective misery that so many people are experiencing, it's like, in order to get to the root of the problem, there's a hell of a lot of dirt, okay? And yeah, I'm talking about the dirt a lot of the time. And it might seem like it's not relevant. It might seem like I'm just going off into some other subject. But I promise, like, in my brain, it makes sense because it all relates. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that's why, if it seems like I'm not trying harder to do it their way and talk about things in a fashion that would be more palatable, it's because my brain literally cannot. Okay? Sorry, I keep overusing that word, literally. But there are so many points that I can make too. Like, the original point that I want to make has at least 36 points attached to it, you know? Maybe I should try to do that on like a whiteboard. Because I have all these fucking whiteboards, I might as well attempt to do that. You know, just to try to compartmentalize it a little better. Because yeah, I do feel like my suggestions, they would help a lot more people if I was able to structure it in a way that made a little bit more sense. Because yeah, the whole, you know, non-linear, like jumping from subject to subject, it's like, it's very hard to follow. And like, I understand that. So, anyway. So we're talking about depression, right? We're talking about why are people so depressed? Well, I think that people that are legit depressed, and by that I mean they can't get out of bed, they can't take a bath, they don't want to eat, they don't want to socialize. They don't want to do the things that would help them snap out of it. That's called anhedonia. Or no, anhedonia or adhedonia. I think it's anhedonia. It's where you lose interest in the things that you once enjoyed. You don't have pleasure in anything. Yeah, it's terrible. And I've definitely been like that. I'll go through these phases where I'm like that. And the reason why I know what's going on with me, because my dopamine is out of control. So I'll get real excited, real happy. It's one of the reasons why I'm so spiritual, you know? Like, when I go to church, like, I literally feel, there it is again, I feel like I'm on drugs. No, but I do. I do. It's like being on a mild hallucinogen. When I go, I mean, so many secular people would agree with that, wouldn't they? Because they think that God's a big old lie. If God's a lie, then that lie is the only lie that can actually do something positive. Like, legit positive. Like, it raises your vibrational frequency because you're focusing on good things, you know? And a lot of people don't want to think about that, but they're too busy focusing on the negative. And so they think, well, God's not real because of all this negative stuff. And I think that they just don't understand what life is. I don't think that they understand how the world works. There's just a lot there that can make a person secular, and I don't think that it's logic. I think it's way more of a victim mentality. And I know that it's easy to look at the world and be like, this place is so fucked up. But what's interesting is that a lot of these people believe in science, you know, and science is very controlled. It's all about money. And so whatever they're pushing is typically going to be politically correct. So it's like they want to bitch about, you know, the gullibility that people have believing in God. But it's like, you believe in unnecessary medical interventions that don't make you immune to anything. And they seem to do the opposite of what we're told they do. But let's not get distracted. Depression. I've had all kinds of depression, and like I understand what's going on now. It's because, you know, it is the neurotransmitters. That does have something to do with it. Very little to do with serotonin, it seems. So if you start taking a pill that releases serotonin, it's only going to work for so long because that numbing effect, it's just like a regular drug. You're just going to have to keep doing more and more of it to have the same effect. And so, me personally, I would just rather deal with that. I would rather deal with, like, whatever the terrible thing is, and just accept that it's terrible, accept the fact that I'm not in the place where I want to be, and just sit with that. Just sit with that. And I hope I'm not, like, making people feel invalidated with this, because a lot of people clap back with, like, well, you just don't understand, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. I really, really do understand, dude. Like, I've dealt with this stuff all my life. It's just the difference is I don't I don't feel sorry for myself because I experienced that. And like looking at the world, I can understand why I'm depressed. Looking at just how fucked up things have always been. And it's really the plebeian sheep that depress me more than anything else. Like, I know that the higher-ups are fucking evil. I know the kind of fucked up shit that they do to children. I know that they're constantly lying. Like, it's not... That's not news to me. But the fact that the plebeian sheep... It's like so many of them are just now figuring this out, and they think they deserve a medal for that. But there's still so many people that haven't figured it out because they just can't accept it. They can't digest that. You know, like it's not anything that anybody wants to believe. So that's what's so funny to me when these sheep talk about conspiracy theorists. Like you think we want to believe this stuff? I got into this argument with my mother several years ago about the vaccines. And she said, Amy, I just don't want to believe the world's that bad. I feel sorry for you. This is what you think the world is. And, you know, I feel sorry for her. But, like, we're never going to see eye to eye on that. And that's okay. Because I don't think that a person like her could handle that information. You know? Like, they simply cannot handle it. Because it's too depressing. It would make them angry. That's why the sheep are so angry. Because they just don't understand that, like, this is the way that the world is. This is what they do to us. And I think that a lot of that has to do with a complete misunderstanding of God and his adversary. So, I don't want to focus on the devil because he likes that way too much. You know? Any attention is good attention, right? Like, the devil's not going to get mad. Like, hey, you're talking shit about me. Stop. So, I should write that down. Any attention's good attention. But, like, I need to figure out a way to say that. Especially in relation to women, because, like, a lot of women are like that. It's very, like, histrionic. Dude, it feels so good right now. I just assumed that it would be super cold, but it's not. But yeah, there's a way to acknowledge bad things in the world without obsessing about them and being full of rage. So I think that there's negative entities that are, like, attaching themselves to people. And I've realized that about myself too, by the way. I'm trying to figure out what that is. Because if I locate the source, then maybe I can kill it before it gets too out of control. But anyway, I'm going to think about that while I'm at work today. Maybe I'll do a shorter video about it later, because I don't have much time left on this memory card, but maybe like 4 or 5 minutes. But anyway, yeah, it's fucked up what our world does, but at the same time, like I said in a previous video, people will keep getting exploited because they make it way too easy. And so it's like with the government. You know, if the government's going to give you money, why would you work? If you can take a pill that pretends to solve your problems, why wouldn't you take a pill that pretends to solve your problems? If you can just like watch TV and distract yourself, why would you work on your life? Why would you try to make it better? You know, most people just don't have that virtue, unfortunately. But anyway, I'm gonna go to work. It's nice chit-chatting.